when it's shorter, it really helps. That's one of the things when they're not too long and I have to read for a while.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Media Coffee. I'm your host, Sami Saad, and today I'm joined by Valeria Koopman, founder and CEO of Fit for Joy, an independent media platform focused on personal growth, spirituality, health and wellness, and she's also a well-being author and podcaster with a global audience. You can check out her work at her website, fitforjoy.org. We'll be diving into her approach to publishing, content strategy, and growing a mission-driven media brand. Thank you so much, Valeria, for joining me. How are you today?
Wow, thank you for having me here. It's different. As I said off record, usually I'm always interviewing people and asking questions, and today I'll be answering them.
The
So
other way around
I'll try
today.
my best not to ask you questions. I might do it. I do that
I'll just
too.
switch it back to you. All
Oh
right. So,
no.
yeah, so let's start with your background. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and specifically what led you to launch Fit for Joy as a media platform?
Yes, that's a long story. I actually wrote a book about that. But being very direct or probably straight to the point when it comes answering that question about why Fit for Joy, why the platform is it's titled that. There was a personal insight of knowing that I was already perfect to experience happiness, that I was not to wait when I had the perfect health or perfect body or the perfect relationship or the perfect house, whatever it is that the mind tends to kind of go after, which is okay, but it can cause a lot of suffering. It was my case. So I was always trying to reach a destination of being happy, kind of almost as a destination. Okay, now I'm happy. Now I have this. I'm a personal trainer in New York. I won this competition. I'm dating this guy that I always wanted to date. So this is perfect. And then all of a sudden, all of that ended in a sense of the boyfriend that I wanted to have said no to me, ended the whole thing. And I think that was probably the point where I said, wait a minute, I thought I had everything. And then this insight of that I was already what I was looking for changed everything. And it was not just it was just an insight, and then I had to take actions. And that was coming from a place of truth, being true to my heart, I call it. And I actually call that heart wisdom, like being true to you. Whatever is true to you that you really feel like you want to do in life, not not pushing back, not waiting for the future, and not suffering unnecessarily in the moment because you don't have something, coming from a place of lack. So there's something about creativity when you come from the heart, when you come from what is true to you, that arises too. So I became very creative and also very courageous. And then I moved to France. I just ended all that life in New York and I went to France to write my first book, Fit for Joy, that kind of explained the whole journey, how I got there. I don't know if that
Wow.
answered your question.
So it's a really personal journey for you, and I appreciate that, especially when you're launching, a website or a blog or basically a media publication. It's always good to be passionate about the subject that you're covering. So thank you so much
Yeah,
for sharing that.
yeah,
What's your
yeah. Thank
publishing workflow? Do you manage everything yourself, or do you have a team of
you.
contributors?
Gosh, I do have a team though, almost 12 people now. It didn't start it that way. I started on my own doing everything, and then I felt that I needed people to help me. So now I have 12 people, and my collaborators and my contributors are my guests, my podcast guests. They are usually people in the well-being field. They are therapists, they are coaches, spiritual leaders, and spiritual teachers, and everything else in between. Lots of authors too that have written about well-being and how to be happy and how to actually stop getting our in our own way, because the main thing for me with this whole platform that I run for about 6 years now has everything to do with that. So by being true to me, what happened was started that process of let's say, almost like unblocking or undoing what didn't feel natural, having the courage to say no to, for example, relationships with friends, family members that didn't feel aligned, that my body and my being was not comfortable around. So the whole, seems like this whole realm of being happy, of finally feeling like now you are in this place of joy, which it's kind of not a destination anyway, is a process in the sense of the more you're true to yourself, the more joy arises naturally. So you don't have to try that hard to be happy. So answering your question, yes. So I have this a team that helps me with everything, with the back, let's say with the background, all that work in the backstage. And then I have my collaborators who most or a lot of them are my friends, and they are also my clients because I have an agency too. So parallel to that publishing, I also run a marketing like for healing and spiritual messages. So yes, I have a whole everybody. Actually, I work with everyone. Basically, it's almost like I could be working with you now in a sense of collaboration, of uncovering things that we are usually have blind spots. Come having a very honest and a very open-hearted conversation. So that
Yeah.
to me is collaboration too.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you touched on it a little bit, but can you talk to us about the topics and, specifically like coverage areas that you focus on in your publication, and how do you choose what content to publish?
Yeah, that goes back to the same thing, like everything that I have been saying. So basically, this pursuit to of joy, of being happy, has a lot to do with being true to yourself, and a lot to do of having the courage or having the curiosity to know what is not working, what's not natural to you. So being curious and then have the courage. So all that, anything that has to do with that, which therapeutic work, that's what they do, therapists, that's what they do, that's their job. So I have lots of therapists, and the content has everything to do with that. Kind of almost like peeling the layers of what's not you, that's getting in the way of you being more natural. So it's funny, Sammy, how it always goes back to that. Like, how comfortable are you with where you are, in your own body, the things that you do? Like, women, we are a little bit different because a lot of times we are comfortable with, putting makeup on, doing the hair, and, and wearing pink. I mean, I love pink. So that's a little bit different. I don't know about for you guys. Of course, my husband doesn't have an idea of what he likes, but so it's basically feeling very comfortable with yourself, with everything, your body, the conversations you have with people, because a lot of times seems like a lot of us tend to please a lot, and I've been there, and I'm still learning when it comes to saying no to certain things, certain conversations, certain people, behaviors, and all that places that my body doesn't feel comfortable in. So all the any content that has to do with that, that sheds a light per se and gives us clarity into the what is natural to you, what do you really want to do, in this life. It's temporary though, we are not here, we don't even know if we'll be here tomorrow. So I think it's an urgent kind of topic, that content in general.
Yeah, that's good to know. And do you repurpose your content, as part of your strategy? Like, for example, you record a podcast and you have, some great content from your guests. Do you use that to kind of write an article, and
Mm.
reformat it in different ways?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do all that. Yeah, my team kind of does that. We do
Hmm.
shorts, we do blog posts, we do, there's something else that we do though. Yeah, lots of, like we have these long videos with interviews, and then we break them down in smaller ones. We make animated videos, like the whiteboard videos. So yeah, we do that a lot. Blog posts. And now we are launching the magazine, the Fit for Joy magazine too, because I found that was another way to be, it's almost like being more personal with these topics, because a magazine you can hold it. So I'm publishing it online and print. So there's something about that. I don't know, that keeps coming back to me as something that I could do as a, like you say, repurposing the content,
Yeah.
have that in the magazine. So I'm doing that. I have 3 issues under construction.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's always good to do that. A lot of publishers miss that opportunity of, when you have content, you can reuse it for different, social media platforms or for different format.
Right.
And it's always good to do that. Um, so, the reason why I asked you about what kind of
Mhm.
content you publish or you look for is because, this podcast is, geared towards public relations, communicators, um, and a lot of them would love to know, do you receive press releases, PR pitches, and, how do you, let's say, pick the right ones for your publication?
Mm, yes, yeah. I have an outreach team, so they reach out to. That has been my most successful way of reaching out the not just podcast guests, but also clients. Usually, my podcast guests they become my clients.
Mhm.
So it's yeah through we reach them out through their website. So
Mhm.
that's the most successful way. It feels more personal too, like we are reaching out. We go through their content first, of course, their website, and see if it's a match, and then we send an invitation to them. So that's one way, and then I receive a lot of guests from PR publicists and in public relation companies. Yeah, that too. And then we just kind of select. It's basically very easy to do because it has to do with everything that we've been talking about, healing and joy, and finding what is to live in harmony in this world. So it goes back to that kind of main theme. So it's easy when it comes to that choosing.
Yeah, that's good to know. And you mentioned that you do receive a lot of press releases and PR pitches.
Yes.
When you're reading these PR media pitches, can you tell us a little bit about like what do you look for in the PR pitch?
Mm.
What are things that you're not interested in, so just so that the PR professional, the audience listening can know how to reach you and how to get, featured in your publication.
Yes, yeah. So I'm trying to think here some of the things. Because the content that this field that I work in, it's very clear. So it's all about happiness, is about healing, it's about spirituality, anything that elevates the spirit. So it's very easy to know. But I tend to go for the, let's see, when I'm looking through them. When it's shorter, it really helps. That's one of the things when they're not too long and I have read for a while. And then images too. When I see like a cover of a book or something that calls my attention, in that sense, kind of matches almost immediately with this whole topic of heart wisdom, of living a life in harmony. So keywords. So the if I get a PR pitch with a graphic with the keywords in it, that's it. That's all I have to see to. The colors help as well, of
Mhm.
course. Harmonious colors and happy colors.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, I do.
that's
Did I
perfect.
answer your question?
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And it's a common theme, conciseness is very important when it comes to PR pitches. And it's interesting that
Yeah.
that media photos or images
Yeah.
also get your attention. That's really good to know. Um,
Yes. Immediately.
let's
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
shift over to your marketing strategy. What helped you grow your audience so widely?
Yes, right. Oh gosh, so many things because I have a large team now and everybody does different things. So, wow, what I think putting a team together, that's the first step. That's really, really, really important. In the beginning, I had no idea if that was the way to go. So I was kind of, it took a while. But now I know for anything else I do, like the magazine, and of course I have other projects, I always put a team together. So in that, they will do the work. Well, we need to reach, let's say, 20,000 new, uh, 20,000 new, just as an example, 20,000 views on YouTube this month. We needed to reach out to 5,000 people, like people that still don't know our work.
Mm.
So we go from there. So it has a lot to do with putting a team together and then creating like clear goals. That's what we want. Specific numbers, though. I work with a lot of specific numbers. So we want to reach, 20,000 people, 50,000 views. We want to get to 1 million views by, and then we have that goal. Even if we don't reach, we get there in that specific period of time. It's okay. But it's important to me to have that destination, although it can move, it's flexible, but I like that, visualizing like what I'm looking for. So yeah. Did I answer
Yeah.
your question? Let me see if there's anything else.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I made
then
some notes
I
here.
have I have one more question for you. What's
Yeah.
next for Fit for Joy?
Oh, yes. Gosh, there's something else cooking, as some people say here. I'm from Brazil, so English is my second language, but I'm learning all these expressions.
Yeah.
So I moved to Hawaii recently, as we talked off record. And the purpose, the mission, the vision to be here is the same. It never changed because speaking of that too, like reaching an audience and doing all these things and having people to really connect with your work has a lot to do with everything that I've been saying from the very beginning, being true to you. If you're not true to you, and I say true to your heart because the heart knows. For those who understand that language, because I usually like the language of the heart. So it basically what it feels right to you. So now I'm here because I've been called in that sense of creativity, imagination, and in purpose to open a space here. So it's a Fit for Joy space on Kauai. So that's the next thing. And then I have a nonprofit too. I just opened for that. So that's on the nonprofit. It's called Fit for Joy Garden of Wellbeing on Kauai. So that's basically the same thing that I do online. I've been doing for the last 6 years, but in a physical place. And the mission and the vision is always one and the same to live in harmony with one another, with ourselves first, of course, starts there, and then being in harmony with other people around us and doing that work, and then being in harmony with the environment. So everything is echo, and we are working with the earth. So being very mindful about the ways we build, the ways we use materials, and even the day to day, how much paper you're using, all that is part of it. So it's an eco well-being space. So yeah, that's the next thing. A lot of work
Awesome.
though. We're just the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's great. Thank you so much for sharing. And that wraps up our interview. Thank you so much again for joining us and for sharing your insightful thoughts and wisdom and practical advice. I, really appreciate you joining me. And yeah, if you
Mhm.
want to check out Valeria's work, please go to fitforjoy.org and check out our podcast as well. Thank you so much again, and have a wonderful day,
Thank you.
Valeria.
Thank you, Sammy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mahalo.